This week, Phil is headed back to coastal British Columbia, his favorite black bear hunting areas. But this time, he's after a mountain goat in some of the most rugged and remote country in Western Canada. It's an all-backpack hunt in the remote wilderness of British Columbia. This week on Phil Phillips Unleashed.
Hunting has always been my way of life. It's my profession, it's my passion. It's what I do best. My life's been captured on film so I could share it with you. I'm Phil Phillips, and this is my story. I hope you'll join me.
I'm a cowboy, I'm a worldwide cowboy, and there ain't no way you're ever gonna slow me down. I said, I said,
Welcome to this week's show, the second part of a two-part series. We're going to be back in coastal British Columbia hunting mountain goats with my good friend and outfitter, Bob Milligan. His exclusive 10,000 square mile guide area has goats that have never been hunted, and the trophy quality is second to none, and that's what brings me back here today. Well, because this was a true backpack trip, we were limited in the amount of weight we could pack into the field. So we had limited battery power, or we'd have shared way more of the beauty and the scenery. It was an incredible trip and incredibly beautiful. So I think the footage we brought back to you will at least give you a taste of how incredible this country really is. Man, that is a hike like I've never done. I've hunted sheep. I've taken a couple of goats with Bob and hunted them in Colorado. You'll get some shots of where the bottom is here, but we came clear from the valley up to here. We just dropped our stuff, decided this is a good spot to camp. We can see this basin. Bob just went over the top of the glass into that basin. We've already spotted a probably 9.5-inch billy. He's right at the base of the snow over there. It'd be impossible to see on the camera, but he's 600-700 yards away. It'd be a 3-hour circle, but he's in a good spot. But Bob looked at him with a scope, so he's about a 9.5-incher. And we're actually on this trip. Bob's never hunted this area. It's one of the highest mountains in his area, and it's the only way you can get up here is the way we just did. And he tried to come up on snowshoes last winter. Spent 5 hours and they get halfway. So he said, if you want to come up, he said, I know there's some giant goats up there. There hasn't been a goat killed in there for 10 years by anybody. And he hasn't had a client in here of his ever. So we're packing a Matthews helium, of course, and then I've also got a muzzleloader along, and we're gonna try to take at least a couple goats, and he thinks we might be able to get a couple up there real close to the top. So 9.5 inches in Colorado would knock your socks off, but here he said, just a goat. So we're gonna go look for some more.
After the back-breaking and leg-aching hike to the top of the mountain, Bob and Phil are treated to a breathtaking view of the valleys and mountaintops around them.
All right. This area was filled with goats. And when the fog lifted, we could actually see goats right from camp. Bob's outside the tent. I'm lazy. We can't get out. We had one goat look at us at the top of the hill over there. We could see 100 yards, big nanny. And still you can't see across the canyon. This was the third day hanging out in the tent. At least it's not raining, but you can't spot anything. So no point climbing around in the cliffs until we can see some goats. So there I am, jammied up. Well, it's our third day. First day we got weathered out on the mountain. Did see a couple really good goats. Got back that evening, there was a big billy across. We were stuck in camp, mostly in the tent yesterday. Didn't even drag the camera out because it poured sideways all day long. And today we're just in a big fog bank. It hasn't really rained on us, but we can't. The visibility opens up to 100 yards and then shuts back down, so we're out there playing with the bows. And about all we can do. We're sitting there hoping it's going to break. It's the third day, and this is not very nice so far. But the forecast is for it to be really good, so hopefully this clears out of here and we get a few days of good visibility, because a lot of big goats up here. We just got to be able to see them. Well, it's our 4th day total stuck in the tent. Can't see the mountain. It's been raining all day long. It's a long way over to the water. The creek's probably a quarter mile from here, and we decided to make our time work, and we're getting our coffee water the old-fashioned way, fresh rainwater. So, one more day after a day, we're praying for sunshine. You know, we had some bad weather, which is really kind of unusual in August in British Columbia. We're stuck in the tent a few days. When the weather broke, we climbed to the top of the mountain and glassed for goats.
When we come back, the weather clears and Phil gets on the goats. Phil Phillips Unleashed is brought to you by Scentlock, Easton, Matthews, catch us if you can, Burris Optics, New Archery Products, in Mississippi. Find your true south. The next day, the clouds started to lift, so Phil and Bob hiked to the top of the mountain and started glassing for mountain goats.
We're just working our way around the ridge. The wind's kind of blowing up. We dropped down to look, and of course, there's a billy about 200 yards above us. He smelled us again, and he headed down, so we made a big circle. He should be somewhere right in below us here. If he didn't leave the county like the one did yesterday, he looked like a pretty good one.
It wasn't long before they spotted what appeared to be a great billy, feeding below them on the mountain.
Stand. Look how pretty he is.
While this wasn't quite the goat Phil was looking for, he was well within muzzleloader range.
That day the clouds had lifted, and by the afternoon we spotted some goats down low on the mountain, so we moved in for a closer look. Well, it turned out it was just a nanny and a kid all by themselves. So we climbed down the mountain and up the other side. We looked back across, we spotted a billy Bob said we should go after.
Bob just peeked over and spotted a billy. He's probably 400 or 500 yards over.
I think it's a billy.
Yep. Now we're making a plan.
With the midday thermals rising, Phil and Bob descend on the goat to cut the distance to get in range with his muzzleloader.
He just bedded down. He's been feeding in a creek. He just stepped just above it. Laid down one way, kicked dirt all over himself, and then turned around and kicked dirt all over himself. So my nice clean white goat is now black, but I think he's in a good spot for the muzzleloader. It's going to be a real tricky deal to get on him with a bow, but we're going to slip down. Bob's been looking at him. Chad looked at him with a scope. Oop, he just stood back up. Let's see what he does.
Well, this is one of those hunts I call a Pope and Crockett hunt. I pack my bow with me every day, but Bob had my muzzleloader in his backpack. The idea was if we get close enough, I'd take my goat with a bow. If we were running out of time, this was a really big billy, and because of the open terrain, I just wasn't sure I could get close enough with a bow. So at the last second, I put the bow down, started the stock with the muzzleloader. You know, the one question I get most often on emails, Facebook, and even when I bump into people at the shows is what equipment I'm shooting the current year and why. And Matthews always makes a fantastic product, and they've never built a bow that I didn't really enjoy shooting, but I'm really excited about this fall. They've got 2 new bows out, the Matthews Creed and the Matthews Chill. And I'm showing you the Chill here. It's a 2-cam bow. It's a offshoot of the Monster that I shot my biggest whitetail with a year or so ago. Super lightweight. It's a little bit faster than the Creed. So for hunting out west where I do, where you're hunting antelope, goats, sheep, elk, a little bit of chance for longer shots. It's super accurate at longer ranges. And I got it paired off with the Injection Easton shafts. They're a carbon shaft, small diameter, but with the new technology, they've got an insert instead of an outsert. It's called Deep 6, and it pairs off perfectly with this NAP kill zone. This combination creates super accuracy and the ultimate penetration of any hunting arrow I've ever shot. This year, I'm really recommending either the Chill or the Creed with the injection shafts, the NAP kill zone broadheads. You can't go wrong.
Find out if Phil gets a shot at this massive mountain goat when we come back from a short commercial break. With a bow in one hand and a muzzleloader in the other, Phil and Bob close the gap and move in on the big mountain goat.
Well, with my CVA muzzleloader, I felt totally confident out to 200 yards. With my Burr scope, I had crosshairs that would allow me to shoot considerably farther than that. But my goal was to get within 200 yards of that big billy.
We just crawled down this ridge. Bob made a big circle and couldn't see him. We lost him coming up the ridge. We were hoping he's going to come up to us. Bob got back over and we peeked around the corner and he'd moved back up into a bunch of boulders down here. He's laying right on top of some boulders. I just ranged him with the drop compensator. It's 190. It's 220 actual distance, but with Bob's Nikon says 220, so he's technically in range. We'll just see what he does. He's laying looking the other way right now. He walks up.
Well, I guess I could have used my bow. We got a lot closer than 200 yards. With the thermals rising, we stayed above the goat and closed the distance. We got set up, and just in the nick of time, the wind shifted on us, the goat winded us and got up. It was now or never.
If you'd like to book a guided big game hunt like the one featured in this show, give Steve's Outdoor Adventures a call. The toll-free number and website address are listed on the screen. And Steve will personally help you book the hunting or fishing trip of a lifetime. Did Phil make the shot? Or did this Billy just run off in a cloud of muzzleloader smoke? Find out after this short commercial break. Phil Phillips Unleashed is brought to you by ScentLock, Easton, Matthews, catch us if you can, Burris Optics, New Archery Products, and Mississippi. Find your true south. When we went to commercial break, Phil had just made an awesome stalk on a bedded mountain goat.
I made the stalk, I closed the distance. Now all I had to do was make the shot. You don't know how difficult this really is. And I had my chances from over there, but he got in a spot finally where we could do a bow type hunt on him. And I wish I had my bow. When he stood up there, he was 50 yards. And I could have gotten quite a bit closer while he was laying there, but the wind turned and went straight down our back. And that's what got him up. But I saw him testing the air, so I had the gun up and was ready, and he got up with his rump straight to me. So catch that, catch that, catch that. Well, I put the power belt bullet right where I wanted. The big goat ran down the hill, tipped over, and then he took a wild ride down the snow slide. That's the only bad thing about letting him get into the snow. We're gonna have to pack him uphill a whole lot farther. Don't break a horn, please, buddy. Don't go through the chute. Stop. Bob said he actually went back to get my bow because he realized the goat had to be really close, but he didn't dare come up with it. So, well, man, it's the last day. I'm thrilled. Doesn't matter how it happened. It happened. So I tell you what, considering we got weathered in for 4 of the 7 days, and actually we're going to hike out today. I've got a flight tomorrow afternoon, so we're going to really be hustling to get me to the plane. But the forecast was finally good. It was nice today, and we got back over on this side where we saw a really big billy a couple days ago, the one other good day we had to hunt. And we found this guy, and he's got huge bases, good length. He's probably not going to make the world record, but I bet he's top 5. So I'm really thrilled with him. But man, he was right there where I could have got at him with a bow if we had only known for sure he was that close to that ledge. So, but I tell you what, last day, weathered in as much as we were and as hard as we worked, I am thrilled to death with this goat. What do you think, Bob?
I think we earned it.
That's for sure.
We earned it big time.
We're still gonna earn it. We're still 8 miles from the truck, probably 3.5 miles from camp. So we're gonna get this guy taken care of and load him up and get him back to camp, and then get up at the break of dark in the morning and try to get down the mountainside to get me on an airplane. I really appreciate it. It was a good time. Well, the goat was as big as I thought he was, and it was a great adventure. As a matter of fact, if you're looking for a grizzly, black bear, or trophy mountain goat hunt, I highly recommend this outfitter. Well, I sure hope you enjoyed today's show, and I hope you'll tune in again next time. Until then, I'm your host, Phil Phillips. Always remember these 3 things. Be safe, Practice good conservation. Always leave better than you found it. We'll see you next time.
Phil had taken another great goat, and they made the long hike back to the trailhead. Packs heavy with goat, but light one practical joke.
Telling him a story one time how I pulled some practical jokes on one of my guides, and he thought it was pretty funny. So since I'm not going to be around for his big birthday coming up in September here, I got him a little present. Got him a corkscrew, because we like to drink wine together.
And the good news is, when I got up here, I wondered why my back was so sore, and I reached in the bottom of my pack and found
A vintage Robert Mondavi in Phil's pack.
we're only, 8 hours from the truck. At the time I wasn't so pleased, but now I've got my goat. We still got a little nice evening light. He's gonna cook some goat. How romantic.
And I'm gonna pack the empty bottle down when we're done tomorrow.
And I'll look forward to my pack when I get to the bottom. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it.
Happy birthday.
I'm a cowboy. I'm a worldwide cowboy. And there ain't no way you're ever gonna slow me down. I said, ooh, 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 ooh. I said, ooh, 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 ooh.
This has been a Steve's Outdoor Adventures production.